Ready for a new Ask Victor. Hi, this is Victor. I'm here with a new Ask Victor video, and this is the video where I answer the questions that you have asked the month before. So if you want this show to continue, please leave your questions in the comments below, and I will be very glad to answer them more or less in a month. So I do it this more in the middle of the month, not exactly the 15th, although this time will come the 15th, can be the 14th, can be the 16th, depend on every month. So it's really a show that I enjoy a lot. I like a lot the questions I receive, and this time I think I have quite a good questions that they will give some interesting topics. So let's start. The first questions are from Vince Venturella. I guess everybody from the channel knows him. Great channel to follow, a great painter, maybe one of the best painters of miniature painters, and I'm super happy that he's dropping questions here. So the first question is, how have you found the Sisters of Battle releases overall? Are you happy with them? I will say, in terms of miniatures, I love them. I think I like a lot the aesthetics of the Sisters of Battle. There are things that I'm not sure, but for example, the painting engine, I still maybe like more the metal ones than the new Penitent engines. The metal ones, they were much bulky, but I really like the old ones. But for example, for the new characters, I think they are great, and I love a lot, and this is why I painted and I bought the Triumph of Saint Catherine. So I think these are is a great small diorama, and I do it more for because I want it as a collection, to increase my collection, more than really for game purpose. But I think it's so far I'm happy. The only thing I find a missed opportunity is that there is not really, there is only one new unit and one new character, right? Or two new characters. So and I would like maybe we have missed the opportunity to put in some new units, right? Most of the kits are almost mono kit. I don't know. I think they like we have now the Seraphim and the Sepharim. Okay, so I was missing something a little bit more like this one. For example, imagine a close combat Sisters of Battle that are more are not flyers, and they go with Storm Shield and sword, right? The old medieval type of guys, right? We know that this is very similar to the what's called this the oh, I forgot the name now. Oh, sorry. The guys. I know that there is the guys with the storm shields and sword. Maybe we can have also yeah. I don't know. I'm missing something new. It's more of the same units, and this is why I don't expect to buy too much, right? I like a lot the new piece of terrain. I think this is quite an epic piece of terrain. I like a lot the new tanks, a little bit expensive, but I like a lot the design of the new tanks. I think they are very gothic, very cathedral looking. I think they really they make a great job on the new Immolator and the new Exorcist. Crusaders is the word I was looking before. But I'm missing, yeah, if they were not launching the new this type of close combat system of battle, maybe they could have put a new Crusaders, right? This is I really like the look of medieval to mix with middle age mixed with futuristic, right? I like a lot the Crusade look like of the Sisters of Battle. I find them, the Sisters of Battle for me are like crusaders in a way, right? They are in a religious crusade against the chaos, against the heretics, and this is how I like to visualize always the Sisters of Battle. So, yeah, the only thing I will say is I'm missing. I think we missed the opportunity to introduce new types of units, different ones, but I don't know. I know that we have two new units, things called the Mortificators and the Zephyrim. The other ones are the same units as before. But okay, it is what so far anyway. I'm happy that we have plastic Sisters of Battle. I think it's an army that really deserve it, and I really like the design of the Sisters of Battle. So I'm happy overall with the releases, and I think I will add something more in my collection soon. Then the next question is, what get you to play AOS? What is your preferred play style? Same question for 40k. Okay, what get me to play AOS and 40,000 is the mixture of the narrative and the epicness mixed with this strategy game, right? I like the mixture. I like, for me, I go to tournaments, but I enjoy more when we can mix this type of narrative mix with the gaming part, and also the challenge when you take some units and to is more or less the enjoyment and also spend some good time. So this is what it makes me. What is my favorite play style? And I think if I have to choose one, I will say I'm more a type of gamer that is I try to be balanced, right? When I play all my armies, I try to have some shooting and some close combat, and I like a lot the MSU type of armies. I realize that I go more to play with small small units. If I have to choose between elite armies and horde armies, maybe I like more the elite armies, although I have Skaven in AOS, right? And I have Imperial Guard as well in Warhammer 40,000. But I will say, if I have to choose something, I like a mixture of close combat and shooting, and I like to have an army that is a little bit narrative. The other thing is, I like to have a little bit of everything in my army, right? I'm not, because it's part of my collection, so I'm not very extreme on having just really one type of units or one type of thing in my army. Let's go back to the Sisters of Battle. So when I play Sisters of Battles, I have Sisters of Battle, I have a mixture of shooting and close combat and tanks, and so I like to have a little bit of everything and try to work with that, right? I'm not looking for the super efficient list. Even when I go to tournaments, I try to play. I play with what I have in my collection, so I don't really build. I'm not building armies for competition, right? I just go to a competition with the army I'm collecting, and I collect what depending on the methods that I like more than really the efficiency. Sometimes I choose some units because I think they're good, but for example, imagine that unit A is the super good of the army. Normally I'm not going crazy and buy 3 units and maximum power of these units. So I don't know, just to make an example, imagine that we say that the Devastators, for example, in the Ultramarine, on the Space Marines, imagine that now the Devastators or the Centurions is the best unit on the table, right? I will not go crazy and buy 9 Centurions because I want to put 3 units of 3, right? It's not my style, it's not where I go. If I collect some extreme armies that, for example, the Ravenwing, where it's all about bikes, it's because I like the background of this army. I imagine an army that is composed of very fast vehicles with bikes and fast land speeders all supporting each other. So I will be happy to play army. Even if I do the Deathwing, I like a full army of Terminators, but I like to have a little bit of everything of the Terminators on the table. So this is why I say is more to have. I'm more try to find the balance and try to have a little bit of everything in my army, or play with a really thematic army that I think it's interesting. It's like, let's put another example, Skavens. We know that the Plague Monks are now the super unit, right? I always collect Plague Monks for a long time, but I will not put more playing mods because no, it's a super unit. I will more likely use together with some escaping warriors, right, and or clan rats, and that's all. Escaping clan escaping. Okay, so yeah, I would say I'm first a collector. Then I like to do the narrative of the army, and based on that, I try to find armies that are balanced. And if I have to choose in a gameplay, although I'm not. If I play Core, I will go, of course, for focus on close combat. So I will, but I will always try to find something that gives me shooting at the same time, right? That gives me support. So I try to have this type of balance in my armies. I hope it was not too long, and I answered your question. So let's go to the next one. The next one are from Scarlock, the Wanderer, and say, why did Games Workshop take the opportunity to replace Resin Miniatures when recently releasing updated AOS battle tomes? For example, on the Ogres, Man-Eaters, the Frost Sabers, or the Yetis. Yeah, on the Ogres, the Man-Eaters, the Frost Sabers, or Yetis, and on the Seraphon, the Croxivores. Yeah, I think the point is how much money and how much they expect to sell, right? Making a injection mold, it's quite expensive. These molds are really expensive, so you have to foresee that you will sell some of them, right? And also you need cash and you need capital and you need time to do the molds. So making an injection mold, once you have the design ready, just making the mold is a project of at least 3 months, right? Normally it's a 12-week project to make a mold, and then you have to qualify this mold and be sure that this mold is delivering what you were expecting to do, right? You can maybe short up to 10 weeks, but this is the type of project that you're talking about, right? So this way I understand when they release the battle tomes and they only do 1 month after each other, and then in 1 month they release 2 or 3 battle tomes sometimes. And I will say Battletome / Codex, right? So they cannot release new plastic kits for all these Battletomes. They are just redoing. And this is what I think now they are doing, this type of campaign books where they can inject some new units into the game. And then, yeah, I guess it's a choice for if you want to put out a new nice unit that you will think that, for example, if you put outside or you release a new unit that looks great, most likely you will sell more than if you just replace the Man-Eater, right? Because a lot of people will have the Man-Eaters and say, okay, some collectors will buy it, but if the person can play what they have at home, most likely they will not go for this new plastic kit, right? Unless it's a very, very old, like the Sisters of Battle, that you barely can find them in the past and so on and blah blah. So this is why I think they cannot substitute all the resin kits in once, right? They have to do it progressively. I don't know exactly what is the strategy, why not the Man-Eaters and they have changed other units. Even they have replaced plastic by plastic, right? But we have some really very old plastic kits like the Berserkers and in 40k, the Khorne Berserkers. These are quite an old plastic kit, right? But on the other side, we have seen from A Slave to Darkness, they have replaced the normal warriors by new warriors. So all depends on what are the expectations to sell, but also on the time and the effort, right? And how much people you have to do new projects and new molds. Each new mold, first you will need to design these miniatures, right? You will need to first you need to design all this design, and this is a project. Designing new miniatures, even if you know what you want to design, it will take easily 1 year, right? You do the concept, then you refine the concept, you do the 3D project. Then after that, then you check what are the parts, how to inject. Maybe you will do some 3D printed miniatures to check how they look like. You will refine the design, the 3D design, and then you will see how you can cast, or you can, in the case, inject this in an injection mold. And this takes time, right? Just to give an idea, to make a new cap for a bottle can take you easily 1 year to make a mold for a new cap. If it's a new design, completely new. If it's just a replicate and it's just increased capacity, you can do the project in 4 months most likely. Okay, so at least to make a cap that looks quite a simple thing to do, right? Imagine that a miniature that is more complex. So I guess these are projects of 1 year where you need a team involved in that. You need a design team, you need a technical designer, so you need first the concept designers, then you need the technical designers, and you need the mold makers, and you need a lot of stuff. So I can understand that they cannot replace, because if you replace the Yetis, you need to do a new design of the Yetis, not just take the resin cast and from there you just create the injection mold. No, you need to do a new 3D. You will start from new concepts and then a new 3D of the miniature, and then you will need to do 3D. So you have to do the full project. You cannot just put exactly the same shape that you used to do before, but just now injected, right? Because then you will not appeal new buyers, and you will not appeal the old buyers, because if the old buyers say, okay, it's just a plastic kit, but I already have the resin and I have 5, why I need to buy 5 more? So I don't need them, so I will not buy. But oh no, it's a new Yeti that have completely new design and looks nicer than before, then you can appeal even people that already have the Yeti. So this is why I think they don't have, you cannot do that, right? You cannot substitute all the molds, and you cannot substitute all the miniatures, and I guess they focus on the miniatures and on the units that have more cells. And I guess the Yetis, maybe because the Yetis were not going miniatures, they don't have that big cells. And I will say for maybe the same for the Coxigors, so maybe don't have as big cells to justify not to pay a new mold, because it's not just the cost of the mold, it's also the cost of all these people working to make the design of the mold. So I hope this answered your questions. I guess this is where it goes, and I will say is all companies, even like the workshop, have a limited amount of people and a limited amount of time they can dedicate to each project, and a limited amount of money at the end. And then let's go to the last one. The last one is from Edic Beer 40k, also a great channel, and if you don't follow, I encourage you to follow them, especially if you play with Necrons. He has super great content on Necrons, deep dive on Necron units and so on. So here we go. Great answers, Victor. Thank you. What was the most challenging model you have painted so far, and why? Okay, I will say in terms of painting, maybe it was the Thunderhawk in resin from Forge World. It was challenging because it arrived to me broken. It was a second hand. I buy very cheap on second hand. They were missing parts. Some parts were broken. Some parts were not correctly assembled. And it was assembled. And it's a piece like this one. And it weighs like hell. Like it weighs a lot. So it's difficult to manipulate. It's difficult to find the right position to paint. It's a big chunk of resin. I'm not using airbrush, so it's really was, I think, maybe the project. They will say, I love the miniature, I love to have it in my collection, but it's not something that I really enjoyed painting. And I will say maybe this is one, but I will not know. There are parts that can be challenging on miniatures. The big miniatures can be challenging because you have to really think very well how to assemble and which process to do. But I will say, if I have to say one, maybe is this one. I was not expecting to have so much work on this. And on top it's very expensive, so you don't want to screw up. I will say, for example, Imperial Knights later on, they were interesting to paint, right? They were a nice challenge. They were not that difficult, but I like it a lot. I enjoy a lot doing the freehand and so on. So the other challenge was when I was starting Bretonnians and I wanted to do the freehand. This was quite difficult at the beginning. Each time that you try to start new techniques and you try to reproduce techniques is a new challenge, right? When But I will say, if I have to choose one miniature that was the biggest challenge for me, was the Thunderhawk, and the other one that pissed me off a lot was the Fortress of Redemption. But this one, because it's the glue that I used was faulty glue, was not good. So when I was handling that, was disassembled everything apart. Then I used another glue, try to solve the problem, but it damaged the plastic. And this is a miniature that even today, when I manipulate, I'm scared that something will fall apart, right? And this was, but it was more upsetting than challenging. But if I have to say, so a challenging project was really the Thunderhawk. I think I will say this one. And I think that's all. That's all for now. I hope you have enjoyed this one. I hope you like, and please leave your questions below if you want this to continue. That's all for now. As usual, thanks a lot for watching. I want to thank everybody that is supporting the channel. Please give a like. This always helps. Comment below is also helping. And yeah, and share to other people if you think this channel is interesting. Please share my channel with other people to help me to keep growing the channel, and to help this is really see how the channel goes is what motivates you to keep doing videos. As well, all the comments, each time I read comments is a little bit of motivation, right? And that's all for now. So as usual, thanks a lot for watching, and see you later. Bye.